Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax. Except you, that person driving. Sit up and keep your eyes on the road.
Are we muted?
Your ears, though, can still listen as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
Me, Rob. Let's go watch the Super Bowl.
I guess that's what we have left now. Watch other teams do what we wish we were doing. We have to live vicariously through 49er fans.
And hopefully the Bengals, too. Wow.
Well, I'm just looking at the 49ers. That's the road we want. Like, they got to beat Dallas. Next week, hopefully, they beat Philadelphia. And then they get to go into the Super Bowl there. That's like a dream scenario for any Giant fan, I think. Take those two teams out on the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So today we had a fun day in Giants land here. We had the end of the year presser for Schoen and Brian Daboll. And if that's not a great time just to listen to those two and try to pick apart every little thing they say, well, then every member of the media is wrong, because that's all they've done all damn day. Let's pick this apart. Let's pick that apart. And I'm seeing so many crazy accusations out there. It's not even funny.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a whole hell of a lot. A lot. I loud like it a lot.
Yeah. So much, a lot.
And, anybody who knows these press conferences know they are trained to tell you nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Especially this regime. They don't want to say a word.
But if you're good at figuring things out by reading between the lines, you can pick up on some stuff. Listen, that's the Jersey State bird reading between the lines. I know that one. I haven't been gone that long. So let's kind of go over topic by topic here, some of the stuff they've said, because it's an interesting thing to see as far as the comments that were made, but the comments that kind of gave some things away at the same time period. And the biggest topic we've been talking about for the last, 4 years now? Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones. And I definitely think it's pretty obvious based on that presser that they want him back. They plan to have him back. And
how can you not after this year?
Well,
I mean, granted, look at the last game, not so good, but he led the team to a lot of wins.
He did very good things this year. But he also didn't do some things that you kind of want out of a star franchise quarterback as well. So we're again left with the question of, was it him? Was it the cast? Was it something else? Was it the four horsemen are drawing nigh? Like, I don't know. And they seem pretty confident that it is, the system around him as opposed to the actual player himself. And
in Daboll we trust.
Yeah, I was going to say, they deal with him a lot more often than we do, that's for sure. So, I'll take it. And I'll run with it, and I'll say, you know what? Let's just continue doing what we're doing then in that case, because if they have faith in him and they see him on a daily basis, then who am I to, say otherwise? Until that is, they prove to be wrong. Once they prove to be wrong, I will jump down them like you would not believe.
And be sure they will bench his ass if that's the case.
I'm just saying, it was their call. So now they even mentioned at one point that if, hypothetically, they were going to contract negotiations and couldn't come up with an agreement, that they had other options.
Tag that man.
Exactly that. They didn't say they're going to tag him, but they said we have other options. Other options means just that. You're going to tag him in some way, whether it's a franchise tag, the lesser used transition tag, which I don't see that being the case. You'd go with the full franchise tag, I think. They even said at one point, we're happy he's going to be here. Schoen said that and then caught himself. So that one didn't take much reading between the lines.
No. No.
The lines were taken off.
It was like,
Naked as a jaybird. Naked as a jaybird. Which I'm not sure why jaybirds got the reputation for being naked, but whatever.
Those damn hooligans.
The damn jaybirds. Nothing else to do in Kansas, I guess.
Guess not.
So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty obvious. They plan on having him back. They're going to have him back no matter what. The one that was a little more ambiguous was the talk of Saquon Barkley. Now, what wasn't ambiguous is the fact that you can tell they like him. They trust he's going to work hard. They think he's a good guy overall to have on the team. That was pretty obvious.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of dry. Look what he did this year. Of course, they would like him back.
It's also his personality, his overall flair he has to himself. Like, this is a face of the franchise running back that most teams wish they can get their hands on because of his personality, because of his persona. You know, he gets in no trouble whatsoever. He signs up for every endorsement thing that possible, which not just helps him, but helps the Giants get out there in front of the national media as well.
And he also dubbed DJ Dimes Vanilla Vic.
Vanilla Vic. Vanilla Vic. I don't know if that was him or he's the one who made it public, but yeah. But they said they wanted him back. They said there's also, as they keep saying throughout the entire thing, there's this business aspect to it as well. There's a business aspect, so we need to make sure basically that it makes sense money-wise. And that is obviously with anybody. They also said they weren't worried about the history of some of the past running back deals, which is what you always hear when you talk about re-signing this guy. Oh, what about Ezekiel Elliott? Oh, what about Todd Gurley? You know, all these different deals. They didn't seem worried about it. They seemed comfortable with him as a person and think he's worth the risk. They also said that not all of the second contracts handed to running backs were disasters. And they didn't give an example, but I'm kind of open ears. I can't think of one off the top of my head, to be honest. I mean, McCaffrey?
Yeah.
He got traded, but he's on a second contract, and that's working out pretty well.
Go ask the Niners how well it's doing.
They're pretty happy with him. So here's some quotes we had from Joe Schoen on this. Saquon has done everything we've asked him to do, and he's a good football player. Again, the positional value. We'll get into how we build this team. We'll get into how we want to build this team and allocate our resources. That's what it comes down to. So, again, not necessarily so difficult to read between the lines sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, he also said what?
He
also said, unless you're about Saquon being back.
Yeah.
I want him back, but, brought up up to the cap and allocated resources when speaking about Saquon. So it's like.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty
depends
obvious.
How much he's going to cost.
I think exactly that. They want him back, but they want him back at their price. They don't want him back at, record-setting numbers that you go, oh, what the hell? Here we go. We're in cap hell again.
Yeah.
And the rumor is they offered him $12 million a year. I never heard of the number of years, but $12 million a year was the rumor that was going around that they offered him during the bye week. Now, if you look at the numbers of what a running back's getting, the record-setting deal is $16 million to the aforementioned Christian McCaffrey CMC. And he said point blank, I'm not looking to reset the market. So it's interesting that he says that, because if that's the case and he's looking to go under 16 or at 16 and the Giants are already at 12, they're not that far apart, really. As crazy as that sounds, they're really not. So, I think they'll get it done personally, but I think the Giants aren't going to sweat it if they don't. Because they had their line in the sand, I think, and they're not going to go beyond that. Whatever that line is, I don't think 12 was necessarily the line, but I think they have a set number in mind.
But listen, if they turn around and say 13-5, 14, if he plays the way he's been playing, I'm okay with that. But it's also one of those deals, all right, let's sign him to a set amount of years with an option for a couple more, or maybe sign him for a little less, but it's some more bonuses if he hits a certain amount of numbers.
I'm fine with giving him a similar number to McCaffrey. I really am. Here's the only caveat I give to that. I want an exit strategy. And what I mean by that is if he gets hurt or if he slows down, we can get the hell out without being stuck in a Ezekiel Elliott kind of situation.
That's what I was trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
but let's get to the point. Like, maybe let's not give him $16 million guaranteed. Maybe let's give him 12.5 guaranteed, but give him $4 million in bonus structure if he hits certain numbers.
Oh no, what I mean is like I'm okay with giving him a 4-year contract at like $16 million, as long as I can get it after 2, with no hit.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. More like I want to be able to get out of this situation and not be stuck in cap hell. And I don't mind paying the man $16 million a year as long as he's the productive back he's been. But I don't want to go ahead and have the issue that all of a sudden I'm stuck with a $16 million contract for a running back who's a short yardage back like Dallas is. That's an issue. That's an issue.
It's a big issue.
And look at the guys they lost this offseason because they paid the running back. I mean, they also paid a quarterback who sucks. But,
and then Bobby left the game.
These are the issues we're running into. By the way, real quick, side note.
Giant
fans, how much did you freaking love watching Dak Prescott fall on his butt all over again? All over again. Loved it. That was it. I almost, yeah. It was like, that was my win this weekend since we lost so badly. That was my win. But
they're going now to do it again.
But yeah, they said when he talked about his negotiations, keep in mind that Giants have never disclosed how much they offered him. Everything you're hearing is conjecture at the $12 million number. But the quote that Joe Schoen gave was, "We had productive conversations. We were off on the value." So that sounds about right to what we're hearing there. I mean, again, I don't know if it's $12 million per se, but it sounds about right. So now we also have some decisions at the defensive tackle spot. Probably our strongest starting duo on the team in Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams. So I don't know about you, Rob, but I keep on seeing everybody talking about, oh, we have to re-sign Dexter Lawrence. Oh, we need to re-sign Dexter Lawrence.
Not yet.
Yeah, he's signed, guys. He's signed. Why are you re-signing a guy that already is signed for another year? We have him signed for one more year, and I believe it's about $10 million. If you sign him right now to a contract, first off, you're buying high after one great year. For all you know, is his career year. You don't know. Listen, we all hope that's a regular thing for Dexter Lawrence. We don't know.
And if that's the case,
all the time.
If that's the case, okay, let's buy high next year.
Yeah, exactly, because he'll still be getting a ton of money next year if he doubles it.
Yeah. So I don't agree with buying him now.
Yep.
Wait the year. Let's keep that cap space.
Give him a second year to prove that wasn't a fluke, and you can even look to do a mid-season extension or something like that if you need to at that point. But $10 million for what he did last year is a steal. If you sign him to a big contract right now, that cap number is going to go up. That's going to go up.
Yeah.
Look at the money we gave to Leonard Williams. We'll get in a minute on that one. But Dexter Lawrence played like a $20 million tackle. And 100%. We're going to cap him for $10 million this year. Do not F that up.
No.
Nice and simple.
It's a steal.
Yeah.
Let's go with it.
Now, if the Giants have some cap money when this whole thing is done, and they say, you know what, we want to throw Dexter Lawrence some money, and you think you're buying low because you think the second time he does it, he's going to be more money, then I'll trust that. But that's not your priority, and that's basically what they alluded to. Their priority is getting some upgrades at some positions, but they wouldn't mention what positions, and re-signing the guys you have.
Oh, wide receivers? Oh, they didn't say that.
Well, I will get into wide receivers in a minute because they did mention a wide receiver during this conversation. So, but let's get into Dexter Lawrence's co-pilot there, Leonard Williams.
Leo!
They should be called co-pilots. I like that term.
Yeah.
For some reason with them. But yet, Joe Schoen said during the actual interview there, he said, "Oh, I just found out about the quote that he said he would take a pay cut." And
no, he didn't.
I'm just like, no, bull. You didn't just find.
No,
if I knew that,
Yeah.
And most of us out there knew that. And I hear Adonis whining. Adonis knew that. The dog knew that even, damn it.
The dog knew it.
Don't tell me that the general manager of the New York Giants missed the story about Leonard Williams saying he'd be willing to take a pay cut to play next year. Don't tell me that. That's BS. Yeah. That's just trying to get out of it. Listen, I'll appreciate the showmanship when you do it, but don't BS us.
You know, he might be honest. He may not have heard that personally.
Bull.
But someone around him heard that and talked to him about it.
Yeah, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. So, the nice thing is, as much as it annoys me being BS'd, and as much as it annoys Adonis as well, apparently.
He is super annoyed about it.
He is so annoyed by this. But at the same point, they're not showing their cards to everybody. And I like that. And at the same point as well, if we do restructure something with Leonard Williams, or just even rip up this contract entirely and do something brand new, maybe they wait till later on when they can do something as far as like using that money towards a draft, because they're going to need about $10 million to sign the draft class this year, probably.
Probably.
So maybe that's what their plan is. Let's just do something later on down the line. Or, like they said, their plan is just take care of the actual people that need contracts first before they worry about that.
I mean, that would be the smart step. All right, you need a contract? Let's go down the line.
You need a contract. I need a contract. We all need contracts here. Yeah. Let's get contracts. So, speaking of people that did need contracts, Julian Love. They did acknowledge again that they talked about a contract with Julian Love during the bye week. We already heard that. That's no big story. They really didn't give us any information beyond that. It's pretty obvious they want him back, though, because you don't discuss an extension with somebody mid-season if you don't want them back.
I mean, he's been a fantastic asset to this team. Like, of course you want that guy back. Yeah. But also, at what price?
So, we have a couple comments here real quick before we get into the next topic here. We got a sad face from Jackie. Sad face. She's sad about the Giants season ending. And Adonis is also very sad. I hear it.
Yeah.
Then we have Danielle saying, "Oh, hey guys, don't know anything about football, but wanted to say hi."
Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Danielle.
Appreciate you.
Oh, love it. So the next topic I wanted to go over is the topic that I feel like we've been talking about all year, even though the guy never played a single damn down in the NFL this year. OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah, OBJ.
Guy.
OBJ. So he was asked by a reporter. OMG, OBJ.
Yeah.
But he was asked by a reporter, in all fairness. This wasn't Shane bringing it up. This wasn't Daboll bringing it up. This wasn't OBJ looking for attention like usual. This was a reporter asking him the question. They said, how did the dinner go with OBJ? And is that something you might revisit this offseason? He just basically said the dinner went well, and they would revisit it. But I got the vibe from his body language that that's not the way they want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling about that through most of this year about signing OBJ. Like, he's a talent, but how much talent is he actually going to bring back here? Plus, when he was here with his antics, maybe he grew up a little bit, but
the plane ride says otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even the situation that happened. It's how he handled himself during it. That's a bad look. And I'm okay with what happened as far as him getting booted off the plane. If he was just sleeping and somebody, some Karen working at the airport went all crazy, that's not on him. But taunting some old guy, as funny as it was.
It's not a good look.
It's a bad look. It's a bad look. Making an entire group of people get off the plane, it's a bad look. Again, it's entertaining. I like the entertainment. Don't get me wrong. Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Yeah. That man probably drank as much as Russell Crowe the night before.
Hey, it looked like it. Only Russell Crowe could handle himself.
Exactly. And his pants were on, usually.
Yeah.
The best of my knowledge.
Fights on.
So, like I said, I don't see that going that way. Now, here's one thing I didn't hear. And this is, again, me being disappointed with the New York Giants media, because this is a question that should have been asked. What about Galladay?
Oh, well, shame on our press because we all know what's going to happen. Maybe
At
that's
least
why.
ask the question.
Maybe that's why they didn't ask the question because. Bye.
I want to hear it though. I want to hear them ask the question and him give a response because this is one of the bigger stories. A horrible failed contract.
It was, but you know what? At the end of the day, if they were pressed about it, you know what he's going to say? Oh, someone we're going to evaluate.
Yeah. Oh, that's what he said for everything. But you can tell by the body language, you can tell by some of the verbiage he used how he felt about specific things. So,
yeah.
On to our next player he did talk about, though. Xavier McKinney. McKinney. So, they asked him basically what they thought of McKinney and if they were ticked off about everything that happened as far as, for those who aren't aware, like Danielle. Hi, Danielle, again. That he had the ATV incident, obviously, in the bye week, hurt his hand. I'd have to guess, based on everything we saw, that the ATV flipped, though that was never confirmed. I want to say that to be clear.
Well, to get that kind of, you're at the point where you almost lose 3 fingers. You probably flipped it and landed on that hand.
It's the only thing that makes sense, because he said he almost lost his fingers. So they were trying to I feel like they kind of bait Joe Schoen into talking bad about McKinney. It's like, that's not going to happen. Like, why would you expect anything different? And he just said, point blank, he said they thought it was just a kid who made a mistake, and they're just glad he's okay. I mean, they gave the perfect answer. I'm telling you, whoever trained these two at dealing with the media, well trained, I must say, because that's not a skill you have that you just naturally have. That's something you gain knowledge on,
Golf clap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good show, sir. Good show.
Good show. Jolly good.
Jolly good.
Are we back in London?
Oh, I can break out the top hat again. So they also did some time talking about the rookies and talking about all the injuries in the rookies. I thought that was kind of interesting because they acknowledged the fact that everybody basically they drafted got hurt, except for McFadden, the one guy. They had what? We have 10 or 11 picks last year. One of them didn't get hurt. One?
Yeah.
That's bad.
There's a lot of MCLs.
Yeah, a lot of MCLs, ACLs, all kinds of CLs everywhere.
Hashtag save our beaver.
Usually shave our beaver.
Wrong hashtag. Whoops.
Whoop. This is the Dr. Seuss moment. So, but they talked about the rookies, talked about their opinions on each of the rookies. They made sure to kind of give something positive about each rookie. Like they even mentioned, the fact that Dane Belton had a couple interceptions, even though he didn't play nearly the role you would have expected, considering the availability for him to be the third safety overall. But they were still playing guys like Jason Pinnock. They were still playing guys like Tony Jefferson. So I wouldn't say he had a great rookie season, just by those standards alone. But they try to pump him up a little bit. So the one guy I really thought they seemed to pump up, who we didn't see all year long, basically, and you just talked about him, Darian Beavers. They talked about how they were talking about him by opening their mouth and letting air out with motions that made sounds. Yes, talking is just it's an acquired skill.
Yeah.
But they mentioned the fact that he was, basically in the hunt for a starting position in the preseason before the injury. So I thought that was interesting. They specifically mentioned that when everybody and their mother, including us, is talking about how we need linebackers. We can't deal with the linebackers we had this year. They weren't good. They weren't fast. They weren't good at gap protection. They weren't good at, rushing down the sideline to sideline. There's not much I can say they were good at, except for getting really excited the occasion that they made it play.
Oh.
Like, I've never seen a group of linebackers make, 3 F-ups back to back to back and then scream like they just won a Super Bowl because they hit a guy at the line of scrimmage. Let's ignore the first 3 mess-ups you had, huh? But, like I said, they talked good about him. They talked about Evan Neal and his growth overall, which, I think the jury's still out in Evan Neal there overall, but definitely
it's his freshman year. He's going to have.
That's what I'm saying.
He's going to have growing pains. This is freshman year.
He's gonna. You just want to make sure it progresses past that. That's all. What I'm saying. It's almost to the point where you almost want to make sure you have a good maybe a young swing tackle that you can also develop just in case. Maybe in the draft somewhere, like a 4th-round pick or 5th-round pick, somebody that you think has potential. Just saying. And you have to hedge your bets like that. It's the NFL. You have to hedge your bets. But like I said, that seemed to be their big guy they liked. Is that they also mentioned obviously Wan'Dale Robinson and his game against the was it the Lions? I think it was the Lions. Was the last game where he had over 100 yards in the third quarter and just kind of lit it up all of a sudden.
Was it the Lions or was it the Texans?
I want to say it was the Lions. We'll see. Look it up for us.
Yeah.
Well,
So go to the videotape.
To the tape. But yeah, like I said, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was just an interesting mix there overall to talk about all the players like that. And I think they were struggling for some of them to say something nice about it. Really do, to be honest with you. Like, how do you talk nice about a backup guard that got hurt in early on in the year and you basically didn't see him much, Azudu had his growing pains. We didn't get to see him progress this year like we wanted to see. It was all these different, players that we talked about, coming into this year saying, we need a big role in this guy. We need a big role for that guy. We didn't get to see it because they didn't get to see the field in general. They couldn't stay healthy.
Those damn knees.
We need to
Lions.
Get some grass. Okay. So was the Lions? I thought so. But yeah, we need to go ahead and get rid of the turf already. I hope they get rid of this year because I really think that's a lot of the problems. You don't have all the knee problems without turf being at least part of the issue, if not the whole thing, part of it.
I mean,
so
yeah.
Here's another interesting tidbit I took from this. Philadelphia, much as we don't want to talk about that, unless we're talking about cream cheese, because yum. By the way, Philadelphia cream cheese, if you're interested in sponsorship, we are available at 2giantgoofballs@mail.com.
Please reach out.
Got the pitch.
We will respond.
But Joe Schoen admitted point blank that there's a talent gap.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was interesting because that's admitting I got work to do. That's not him sitting there saying, oh, well, next time we got them, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yep, there's a gap.
I mean, it was quite obvious.
It is, but you don't see the GM of the team typically admit that.
Typically not, but he's taking accountability, so I appreciate that.
That's what I'm saying. And I wouldn't even say accountability because he had no money last year. He didn't really have the ability to do whatever he wanted. This year, he might not have the money to do anything he wants, but he's got a lot more money than he had last year. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
A lot more money.
I mean, it's definitely accountability. Like, he's taken away. Like, listen, we know we're not the most talented team out there, but we will improve. And he knows that. And if you can admit that, that's the first step to recovery.
Yeah. I mean, when you have multiple starters on your team that just weeks ahead of time were on somebody else's practice squad in the playoffs, that's freaking amazing.
Playoffs!
But
we were supposed to be here.
We weren't really. So he also talked about number one receivers, and they asked him if number one receiver was a goal. They talked about, Stephon Diggs when they got him in Buffalo, what that did to Josh Allen. They talked about, what A.J. Brown did in Philadelphia going to Jalen Hurts. He made it a point to say he would love to have one. Love to have a first, true number one receiver. And who wouldn't, obviously? That's just like, I'll take 3. Yeah. What the hell? Why?
Yeah. If we're giving it away like Oprah, let's take it all.
What the hell? Let's go for it. But he made it a point to say 2 things. The money has to make sense. And let's be honest, these receivers now, these top guys are making like $20-25 million a year. It's insane what they're making now. He also made it a point to mention that how many of the number ones are out of the postseason. He didn't mention any names. But let's honestly look at the guys who were in, in the postseason and not in the postseason now with everything going on. So Tyreek Hill.
True number one.
Gone. Justin Jefferson. Gone.
Gone.
Let's look at, Larry Fitzgerald would say,
DeAndre
Hopkins didn't get in the postseason. Jamar Chase, he's still in it. Jamar Chase is still in it.
Yeah.
So Chase and
He's
AJ
still
Brown,
in. Chase
Cooper
still
Cup.
in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Cooper Cup.
he's not wrong. So it's a matter of, do you want a top flight receiver, or do you want a team that's going to win a championship? And it's not saying you have to pick and choose, but you do have to choose your priority. I think that's pretty obvious. So here, I got the whole list up. So Justin Jefferson, we're going to go just on receiving yards. Justin Jefferson, gone. Tyreek Hill, gone. Devontae Adams, gone. AJ Brown, still there. And Stephon Diggs, gone. CeeDee Lamb, gone. Jalen Waddle, gone. Travis Kelce, still there.
Oh, wait, yeah. Well, he's technically tight end.
Smith, still there. I'm just talking receiving yards. I'm looking at receiving yards overall. Terry McLaurin, gone. Amon-Ra St. Brown, gone. Amari Cooper, gone. Mike Evans, gone. Christian Kirk, gone. All these guys, not in. A lot of them didn't even in the postseason.
Yeah.
A lot of them did not even make the postseason. And I'm saying this, as much as we talked about getting a number one receiver, if you can get one out of the draft, go for it. But if you got to pay $25 million to a guy who depends on somebody else throwing in the ball, somebody else has to throw this guy the ball for him to be effective. And that's a waste of money.
So let's go Wandale.
Well, we got Wandale. Maybe we go get somebody in the draft. We got Sterling Shepard coming back. I'm not saying to get nobody. Don't read that wrong. I'm not saying to go get nobody.
I mean, is Shep going to be back or not?
I think Shep's going to be back. Personally, in my opinion, he'll be back on a 1-year, team-friendly minimum deal, maybe some incentives. I think he wants to come back. The coaching and the management just love him because even while he was hurt this year, he was a leader for that team. They love him. That's the culture they want. That's the culture they want. So I fully expect him to be there. So, I think the big thing is if they can get one for the right price, they would take one. But they're not going to pay top dollar. Like they're talking about, DeAndre Hopkins. We talked about him before. They talk about DeAndre Hopkins potentially going to another team this offseason. The Giants will not get him, I guarantee that, because he wants a brand new contract. And Joe Shane's going to say, I'm not going to pay a 30-year-old receiver $25 million a year and screw myself down the line. He's not going to do it.
Yeah. Nope.
And there's nobody else that I can think of off the top of my head that's going to be available as far as a top-flight receiver. So you either get one in the draft, or you get somebody who's not a top flight, but a B flight. Like a Lazard from Green Bay or somebody like that. Yeah,
if you get a couple of Bs and don't have an A or a C, but you steady line Bs, kind of evens out.
The killer bees.
The killer bees.
The killer bees. Listen, I'm all for that, seriously. Because if I would rather pay two really good receivers $10 million a year than pay a top flight $25 million. Call me crazy. Because some will. I'm sure.
Well, you got to think about it. Right? So you're going to pay top flight $25 million, right? And then you're going to get your second. Are you going to pay $10 million on him? Probably. You might pay $5 million. Then you're going to get your wide threes, wide fours. But if you take that first two and allocate $30 to $35 million, and you get 3 wide twos as your 1, 2, 3, you got more of an offense of weapons out there for less money.
I'm telling you right now, wait till a couple of years from now when Jalen Waddle wants to get paid and see what happens in Miami. Tyreek Hill will be gone. He'll be gone. You can't pay them both.
One or the other. Yeah.
It's great when it happens when you have two like that. But you know what the best thing is to get a well-rounded room with guys that'll play together and won't be selfish, won't be yelling at their quarterback.
Throw me the damn ball.
Looking at you, Stephon Diggs. Don't yell at the man on the sidelines. Have a conversation afterwards. That's what you're dealing with there. So, like I said, I'm all for one. I don't think we're going to get one. I don't think we're going to pay the money to get one. I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
I mean, I would love to see Devontae Adams catching balls, not pushing people around in New York.
Listen, yeah.
But it's not going to happen.
That'd be great, but I don't want to pay him.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
Nope. So, like I said, I think it's a pipe dream. People talking about that. Like I said, unless we draft one, unless we draft somebody who turns out to be, a stud right off the bat.
I was about to say
first, second round pick guy that just pans out and does great things.
You go to the offseason, they might pay someone maybe $15 million. Maybe. But that's about it.
That.
Otherwise,
I don't even see that, to be honest.
Yeah, you're probably looking more closer to 12, but as a max. But so to say, you get a solid guy, $15 million, and then you draft everyone else, and then guess what? You have him for super cheap for next 5 years.
Wandale is cheap, and if he comes back and he's healthy, and the way he was picking up the offense right before he went down,
be fantastic.
Put him in the slot, put Shep as the B, put whoever else as the A, and all of a sudden, you got Isaiah Hodgins as your fourth receiver, maybe Richie James as your fifth receiver, and depending what happens with Slayton, you know what I mean? I mean, it's like you have options now. People forget we have a lot of guys coming back from injury, too. And don't get me wrong, I don't expect Shep long term. Shep will play 5 or 6 games. Hate to say it, and I'd love to be wrong. That's what he does.
I'd love for you to be wrong, too, but you're probably right.
Everybody loves Shep. He's about as much a fan favorite as Nick Gates, probably, if not more.
Probably more.
Yeah, probably more.
Just because of his position, probably more.
And the time. He's actually the most seasoned Giant on the roster.
Yeah, but also, I mean, you got to think about it, too, like, what is everyone like in a football player?
Touchdowns.
Touchdowns. So what do you got to be? Quarterback, running back, wide receiver.
Or tight end.
Thanks for noticing, but I'm sitting down. But yeah, you're right.
So he also mentioned the health overall in the team. We talked about all the rookies that got hurt. They also talked about how they need to do a deep dive into how to eliminate injuries as best they can. And they talked about having conversation with Ronnie Barnes and the training staff and all. I'm kind of curious what happens there because, again, we talked about the grass turf thing. It's the turf, guys. Mission solved. I mean, it's the turf. Get rid of it.
I mean, I'm no specialist in turf or grass or any demographics to that. But if you look over the timeline, since we got turf.
Yeah, I think you're lying.
I'm definitely not specialist.
Something tells me that you are
into agriculture.
Yes,
I do agriculture.
Something tells me that. Just saying. Oh, look, it's right there at the bottom of the screen. Rob is a turfologist. Turfologist. We've created an actual thing for you here. Turfologist. He went to 7 years of turf school.
Yeah. It's about the standard of the cleat and the turfness of the turf.
Just saying, if you guys are listening on podcast land, not watching live, you're missing out. Yeah. That's where you learn about Rob's passion for horticulture as a turfologist. Yeah. So they also did a discussion on their feelings overall on how to build a team. And one thing that I thought was kind of interesting was they talked about, drafting guys, unrestricted free agents, re-signing. Joe Schoen seemed to have a love for drafting. And I like that. But he's like, I love it when you draft people because you draft them at a set place. There's a set amount you pay them. I think he just doesn't want to deal with negotiations, which is kind of funny. It's like, dude, that's your job. But that's how it kind of came off. Like, I don't really want to negotiate this crap. Just let's just call it a day.
Yeah, let's see what we got here, and let's draft next year.
Yeah, that's basically the vibe he gave off. Like, I don't want to deal with this negotiation stuff. I will because it's part of the job, but I don't have to. Hey, we all got things at our jobs we don't want to do.
Like, go to them.
Seems to be his.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious how that pans out because of that, but it's going to be interesting, I think, to see what he does now that he actually has some money.
Well, if he's got that mindset, hopefully he's drafting the highest caliber player at the position that he's drafting.
Yeah.
It's this way he doesn't have to worry about that.
You need all the first-round picks, basically. Without that, you were done. But yeah, like I said, I think there was a lot of good tidbits coming out of this. I think there was a lot of good information overall. I mean, some of it we kind of knew. Obviously, some of it we kind of knew. We knew that the Giants were going to go ahead and probably re-sign Daniel Jones, obviously. I think it was a little bit more about fact than we expected. but we kind of knew that was going to happen. We kind of had inkling that they wanted to sign Barkley, but they didn't want to, overpay for him. But I do think some of what they talked about overall about how this is flat out going to happen, we're going to keep Jones, that was interesting. They didn't say it that way. They kind of stopped themselves just short. But it was pretty obvious. They're keeping Jones.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like there's different rumors going around that he might want to go elsewhere.
Rumor has it.
DJ doesn't want to go anywhere else. I'm going to tell you that flat out.
Like they were talking, he wants to go to Carolina. That was the rumor. He wanted to go to Carolina because he's from there. Okay, he's not PD Pablo. Okay, he doesn't want to go to North Carolina. Money raiser.
Yeah. Listen, he's already had too many different coaches in his career in his 4 years there. He's finally got a great coaching staff. He's starting to come to. He's like, as going back to Philly, I don't want to talk about Philly, but Jalen Hurts last year, everyone had the same question about Jalen Hurts. They're talking about DJ now. Granted, he was in the year last. He got this great coaching staff. He put the work in the offseason, which DJ all year, that's all they talked about, like how he's the first one in, last one out. You don't think he's going to do that in the offseason? How much improved do you think he's going to be next year? I guarantee you he's going to be big time improved. He's already making great decisions, so now he's going to start working on improving his running and his throwing to be a better quarterback for us.
See, I think no matter what, he'll be better because he'll have better tools around him. And let me put it this way when I mean that. Right now, if we started playing right now with the current roster, it's still better because Wan'Dale comes back, Shepard comes back, you get another year of training with Evan Neal. You get, Nick Gates coming back a little healthier. It's already a better team as it sits now next year. Plus
the draft, plus any off-season moves we're doing. Like, there's no way he wants to go somewhere else, especially after what we've done this year.
Nope, he's not going anywhere. I'm telling you right now, guys. They made it as obvious as they possibly can. So if you're a Daniel Jones hater, or you were hoping that wouldn't be happening, time to get off of that skid there and get back to where you should be as rooting for the guy who is the future quarterback of the New York Giants. Yeah. Because he's going to be around for a few years.
I didn't need this press conference. I didn't need this press conference to know that, but coming from the guy who was a Debbie Downer about DJ.
Listen, I'm still not sold at him, but I'm still going to root for him. And I still want to do everything I can to voice things that I think will help him because of the fact that I'm still not sold. That doesn't mean I don't want him back. He's the best option we got right now, unless you think there's somebody in the late first round, second round quarterback wise.
Get yourself a little Purdy out there.
Yeah. We'll just get Mr. Irrelevant to be our quarterback. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who needs a first round pick? You got a 7th round pick, you're good. You can go to the Super Bowl with that. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, hopefully
this year they can. So speaking of which, people have been asking me what we're planning on doing this week now that the Giants are out. So Rob and I talked about this. As much as we want to just go full-fledged into the Giants off season, we will still keep you guys up to date and that kind of stuff. But we're still going to also give you guys a heads up on things going on in the playoffs. Playoffs! So later on this week, we will do our usual picks episode that we'll give that for you guys here. We're also going to give you guys a breakdown of the 2 games that are left here, both the NFC Championship game, screw you, Philly, and the AFC Championship game as well. So, like I said, we still have content for you guys here on what's going on live with the season as well. We'll also do stuff like this where we give you guys information going on with the Giants because if you guys are like us, you're not just Giant fans, you're football fans. And Rob and I, we live and breathe football. We want to see what's going on at all times, and that includes the playoffs, even though we're not in them anymore, because it's still important to us. We still love it. It's part of our annual tradition to keep.
And also
watching.
Boo Eagles.
Yes, and Boo Eagles. If that's not something to watch for right there, to see the Eagles, who are just riding so cocky right now. They're not even Eagles. They're full on Roosters right now. Those guys are riding cocky as all hell. Okay. To see them go down to a 7th round quarterback after watching the Cowboys, how about them boys this year, go down as well, because we got our annual tradition of Cowboy fans being disappointed. And now we got the annual tradition of Eagle fans being disappointed. So, like I said, guys, we'll be back with more information on the playoffs as things go and progress there. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that, like, favorite, subscribe, whatever platform you're on, because we're on so many damn platforms now. I want one word.
Follow-ish.
Yes, follow. And make sure to share it to your friends as well. I'm sure you got a lot of football friends as well that like to, learn more about the Giants and football in general there, so feel free to share. If you're watching us on live, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to also subscribe to us on podcast platforms. Whatever podcast platform you use, chances are we're on it. And if you use multiple, we're on them all. Go ahead and subscribe everywhere you can possibly. Feel free. And if you're listening out there in podcast land, that means you missed it live. And it's still good. Don't get me wrong. Still listen. But it's better live. So you should go ahead and like us on all the social media platforms, while also still subscribing to us on the podcast platforms. That way you get your fill of the goofballs. You need all of the goofball action you can get. All of it. Exactly. Just goofing all over the place. So, again, thank you very much, everybody who for listening, for watching, whatever you're doing, depending on which orifice you're using, your ears, your eyes, or both. And as always, guys, go G-Men!
Go Niners! I mean, G-Men!
G-Men! Go G-Men! Go both!
G-Men!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?